Welcome back to Cash Booza, where we take a look at what's going on in the financial markets. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at what is going on in this bloodbath. Oh my god, it was so bad. The Nasdaq, the S&P, the Bitcoin, everything else, dollar index, everything. I just can't believe it. Guys, this is a bloodbath in the markets, and we're going to have to see what is tradable and what is not tradable. So without wasting any more time, we're gonna go straight to my screen. Let's do it. So on my screen, let's start from the S&P 500. What is going on with the S&P? Down about 2%. Not that bad. It's not a crash. It's just a correction. So what can we do? Markets are trading at all-time high. You gotta understand, it's at all-time high. And if you are holding, if you're a bear, if you were hoping for a short, this is your chance. This is a really good signal. I'm looking at the weekly chart, and the market is closing on its low. Well, almost at its low, not exactly, but pretty close. So I can expect selling to pretty much continue tomorrow. There might be a little bit bounce, but the way that this week has violently started, it's just Tuesday. Yesterday was Labor Day, and on Wednesday we can pretty much expect a little bit more selling to come. Same story with Qs, a little bit more aggressive on the Qs. It's tech heavy, it's Nasdaq. The Qs were down about 3%. And the way this chart is looking, I can expect that there's going to be a lot more selling happening tomorrow. So just be a little cautious. If you're holding shorts, congratulations, you're in a really good shape. Just keep holding them and wait for any reversal signs that may be coming on the smaller time frames. Let's take a look at the small caps. IWM down about 3%. Pretty much the same story as the QQQ. Really violent move. Came down. I'm not seeing any support on the IWM just yet, so if I'm holding shorts, I'm just probably gonna be just holding shorts at this point. I want to take a look at Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and see what's going on with Bitcoin. Coiling, it's not doing too much, and that's a really good sign. You remember when the biggest correction came back last year? The Bitcoin and the crypto market was making huge moves, and we're just not seeing that on crypto yet. So that's a good sign. If you're a crypto guy and if you believe this theory that crypto kind of leads the market way, I think that you are probably okay. It's not going to be a crash. It's just going to be a regular correction. Okay, so Bitcoin is not doing much. Let's see what else is going on. Volatility spiked. This thing is spiking. Look at this, up about 33%. Volatility above 20. Whenever we see volatility spike like this, it is a bad sign for the overall market. It's a bad sign for the S&P. It's a bad sign for the Nasdaq. It means that a lot more selling is probably coming. Except for this, look at this. Look at what happened. The volatility spiked on the weekly and it shot back down. That was a different scenario. But if this candle keeps going up and it closes at its high this week, that's a bad sign. That's a really bad sign. So we gotta keep watching the VIX. I'm gonna be watching the VIX like a hawk, and we're gonna see if the candle sustains. If it shoots back down, it's probably a better sign. If it keeps rising up, be cautious. Okay, let's see what else is going on. The dollar index, let's see what the dollar index is doing. Came down at a really good level. See this green line? This is the 200-day moving average. I would say that this is a pretty strong support for the US dollar. I think that if the US dollar keeps holding this level, which right now it is holding, I think that there might be a potential bounce on US dollar. So my forex guys, if you're trading the currencies, if you're in the US dollar, this is your sign. It's a really good chart right here. Let's take a look at the biggest stocks. Apple, what's going on with Apple? Down about 2.7%. Okay, so Apple is down 2.7%. Apple is the biggest stock in the S&P 500. We've got Microsoft, Google, which are also really big stocks, but Apple is the biggest of the biggest. It's like the behemoth of S&P. Down about 2.7%. And it is not as bad as I was thinking. You see this big red bars over here? You see that? These were really bad signs. So if the selling continues next So the selling continues tomorrow and the day after. It might be a little problematic, but Apple is not doing as bad as I had hoped. So moving on, Microsoft, what's going on with Microsoft? About 2%. Again, not as bad. These mega caps have a lot of resistance. If these start falling, that means a big chunk of the S&P is going to fall. So these are showing a little bit of resistance, except for Google. Look at this. Google is down about 4%. I'm not liking what I'm seeing on Google. If Google breaks this level of 155, 156, there might be some exposure to the downside. And the next level that I'm looking at is probably going to be about 130 to 125. So a lot of downside potential on Google. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla is not doing as bad. Usually Tesla in these violent times, Tesla leads the way, and there is a lot of problems when Tesla leads the way. But right now Tesla is down about 1.6%. It's not that bad. So Tesla is doing okay, and so is anything related to EV. So it's not that bad from the EV perspective. So Microsoft, Apple, Google, big names, big things to watch. We gotta keep an eye on these. Meta, again, not too bad. Meta is down about 1.8%. I'm not seeing too much of a downside on Meta. If there is a dip, the problem happens on Meta at 450. If 450 gets broken out on the weekly chart and it gets taken out violently and the market closes on the low, that's when the problem happens. But right now, it's pretty much okay. Let's take a look at gold, the shiny stuff, right? We all love the shiny stuff. The shiny stuff is doing really well. The shiny stuff is holding all-time high. Congratulations. Where's my money? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Where is my money? Let's take a look. Where's my money? Here it is. Okay, so gold. If you're in the gold trade, congratulations. You are doing fantastic. Keep holding it. Don't sell it. This is not investment advice, but from a technical perspective, I don't see a reason why you should be selling gold. And I'm gonna do the gold dance for you because why not, right? We all love gold, we all love silver, the shiny stuff. It is one of the best things to hold in this market. So if you're holding on the gold thing and silver is the same story, so it is a really good time for the gold hodlers. Let's do it. Let's keep going. Silver, pretty much the same story. Silver came down a little bit from the 32 level, and this is just normal correction. I don't see anything coming down anytime soon on silver. Let's take a look at TLT. What's going on with bonds? Everyone on the internet is talking about the yield curve inversion. So we'll talk a little bit about that, the yield curve inversion. We'll do something like this, right? Let's say US 10-year minus US 2-year. This will give us the, US 2. That's not, that's it, yeah. So the yield curve briefly uninverted. You see that? A couple of weeks back, it briefly uninverted, and now it's back in the inversion territory. It might be a false signal. I don't see the market crashing because of this little uninversion. If you look back, if you know your history in the dot-com times and in the 2008 bubble, it happened a lot. It happened a couple of times in the dot-com bubble. It happened, I think, once in the 2008 financial crisis. So we might see something like this play out, and until and unless we see the yield curve completely uninvert violently to the upside, it's probably not a reason to worry. So we were talking about the TLT. What's going on with TLT? So TLT sitting at 97, it's coiling. Look at this. Look at this beautiful coil. It came down, and look at this. This was the trap that they wanted everyone to get in. So everyone who was shorting, if you shorted this, and they just completely just bought this back, and this was the recovery. It's always better to buy the V. If you see something like this, a massive V, that's a really good sign for you that the bottom is probably in. So we see a low and a higher low over here, and that is a phenomenal signal that the bottom is probably in on TLT, and the market is ready to go higher on bonds. And when TLT goes up, when the bonds go up, yields come down. Something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at semis. What's going on with semiconductors? Completely destroyed. Oh my god. Where's my sad dog? Completely destroyed. Look at this. Where's my sad dog? There it is. Okay, so the dog is crying. And semiconductors down about 7.5%. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, the TSMC Nvidia was doing pretty bad today. Literally the entire sector was doing really bad. And if this continues, if semis break this 200 level, it's got a little bit more to go, but if it breaks this 200 level, it might be a troublesome sign for everything else. So semi is gonna lead the way, guys, if it breaks the 200 level. So just be careful about semis. This is not the trade. If you were to get into semis, the time has already passed. The trade is already taken. If you try to get it now, there might be a little bit of chop and you might get chopped up. So just be a little careful. If you were to get in, take a small quantity and see how it goes. Then scale up. Then if it doesn't work out in your favor, scale back down. You gotta learn how to adjust to these conditions. It's a dynamic market. It's not gonna be always easy. But if it does play out, let's take a look at this. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This is the neckline, right? If you measure from here to here, right? This takes us right here. It's a pretty bad drawing, but you guys get the idea. So if the neckline gets broken, the distance from the high 280 to 200, right? That's an $80 difference. It's probably gonna go $80 more. Again, just a pattern. We cannot trade on patterns, but something to always keep in mind. Let's take a look at liquidity bonds, the investment grade corporate ETF. This is rising, okay? This is rising. You see this? This is a low, a higher low, and here is the break. It's a pretty good level to get in. If I were trading the bonds, this would definitely be on my watch list. And I'm actually gonna investigate a little bit more after this video on what's going on with this, because this is something that I'm really, really liking. Okay, so that is pretty much it, guys, for today. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you tomorrow.